Here are the most overlooked marriage hacks.
We're going to count down the top 5 overlooked marriage hacks, starting with number 5 down to number 1. Number 5 being consuming the word of God instead of consuming alcohol and the news.
Yes, nobody wants to see their husband sitting there getting drunk or being negative in the news.
Right, because the news, right, like as important as it is, we can't really play a part in it. Let's just be honest with that. And all it does is really pump negativity into your brain. Mm-hmm. And here's a stat that most people don't understand about the news that Time magazine figured out in the 70s. When they talked negativity in their magazine, it sold 70% better. So then all the news stations started doing the exact same. So no wonder they're telling you terrible things. What does it do? It gets you riled up and fired up on so many things. And then that gets you angry and discomfort. And then you bring that to your marriage. Well, here's the other thing. Alcohol is not making you better. I'm not going to need to go too deeply into this one, but I'll tell you, not one person, not one, it makes them a better person at all.
Yeah, they might think so in the moment, but not really.
If anything, it's keeping you status quo and it's not making things better or worse. Well, even just one drink, I'm telling you, I don't have it on me, but I used to wear the Whoop watch and a lot of people do. Literally one drink of alcohol murders your sleep score, kills your sleep score. And so what it tells you is you're not recovered for the next day, hence not making you as vibrant, hence not making you able to go to the gym and crush it or crush it at work in so many different ways. And you might already feel like you're crushing it in those areas, but there's levels to it even better. So I'm just telling you, no successful marriage is like, hey man, we're just watching the news all the time and drinking alcohol on a somewhat weekly basis and it's getting better. I know you're gonna be like, well, we can. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story about this. A couple months ago, somebody reached out to me because I said a post about Dianne being in ice baths instead of her sitting on the beach drinking White Claws. That same person came in there and started arguing with me on social media. And he's like, hey man, I get what your point is on this, but a lot of people can get away with drinking White Claws, us being one of them, my marriage. And I was like, okay, so tell me a little bit more. We go back and forth and he debated me and things like that. And I said, all right, man, well, I think we're going to agree to disagree and all that.
Right.
A week later, he messages me and is like, hey man, do you have any good books on intimacy and things like that? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I don't know. My intimacy in my marriage isn't very good and all this stuff. And I was like, bro, I said, remember last week when you told me you could get away with drinking alcohol and that you guys like doing it together?
Clearly not.
You just proved your point wrong.
Yeah.
It starts with how she sees you as a man and how she sees herself. If we consume substance, what that really does, you know what that does? It's telling us that life is not good enough without it. Mm-hmm. Or God is not good enough without it. It's hard. It's a hard truth. It really is.
Yeah.
And I know because the culture and the world is going to tell you that it's okay. But read the Bible where it says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. It didn't say, do not conform to the patterns of this world and be transformed by sucking back brews. It didn't say that.
No. And you know what? I'll say that it's a lot sexier to see my husband sitting there praying or reading the Bible than sucking back a beer.
Yeah. And you're going to say, well, I do both. Well, just do one, more of one.
Yeah,
so
more of the positive one.
That's a whole nother topic. But number 4, friendships that have growth-driven conversations instead of being driven by talking crap to each other and talking about politics, right? And I don't need to get into the politic thing. We just kind of talked about it. But anyways, when you're talking politics, chances are it's not, even if you both are agreeing, it's a negative conversation.
Yeah, it's not moving things forward in a positive way.
Yeah, but when you're talking growth-driven conversations, you leave that conversation filled up, big time. Yeah. I can tell who needs to be in my life by that one thing. When I get done having conversations with them, do I feel like I'm a new person, a better person? Or do I feel like, yeah, I mean, that was cool, it was fun, but like, it didn't really change me one way or another. Mm-hmm. I want every interaction that I have in my life to be like, yo, that filled me up.
Yeah, you feel inspired and motivated to do better yourself.
And as a husband, I surround myself with straight killers in the growth-driven in all different areas of life. When I started doing that, who do you think grew the most? Me or Dianne? Dianne did, because she watched me grow, became inspired, started sitting in on the conversations. They started pouring into her as well as me. Then we would have those conversations on our own, hence us both growing. Remove the people from your life if you're like, hey dude, the Packers suck, bro. Like,
or talking crap about your spouse or all different things.
It's just like, dude, That's like 15 when you're a 15-year-old or a 21-year-old, but chances are you're doing that if you're drinking beers. So on to number 3, prioritizing 6-pack abs instead of 6-packs of Bud Light, right? Like, so the whole point of the alcohol one is that, hey, it's just kind of similar to the top one, but 6-pack abs, no, not everybody doesn't need 6-pack abs, but the purpose of it is prioritizing health.
Right. Which one's going to be better? 6-pack of beer, 6-pack abs.
Right. Everybody says, oh, well, that's shallow and things like that. No, it's really not.
It's healthy.
It's healthy. We were designed to be healthy. 65% of Americans are overweight right now. And the problem with that is that being overweight is really unhealthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
We are designed to be perform, right? If you're battling brain fog, inflammation, injuries, illnesses, sluggishness, anything like that, it's because you're overweight. And so I'm not saying you need to be a gym rat and just being in the gym an hour and a half, 6 days a week and all of this and only eating broccoli and chicken. You need to be working out for at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week of some type of intentional movement. And you need to be eating clean, 6.5 days a week, and then have yourself a nice cheat meal. But that's good, but all healthy food doesn't have to be bad. I'm promising you that one is. We eat the same every day, and I look forward to every meal.
I love my meals.
So that's just another one. But it's sexy when I see my wife killing it in the nutrition. I don't see her back over there having a glass of wine and then, eating 4 bowls of pasta, and then later on that night being like, oh, I'm so full.
I'm bloated and
yeah. Do you think
that.
we're having sex when she's bloated or she's passing out on the couch because she's drunk or ate too much? No. But there's a lot of times, like it's 11:30 at night and she's waiting for being on the bed in some lingerie. Why? Because she's still vibrant from her day of being healthy. It's so important. And then number 2, share feelings instead of holding things in. This one's so hard for a lot of men because sometimes as high achievers, we're like, yo, I got this.
Yeah. You don't want to feel like weak and insecure about that.
And there's nothing wrong with feeling like that. There's one every now and then, if like she's stressed in something, be like, babe, I got this. That's one thing. But if she sees that you're off and she's like, what's going on? And you're like, nothing. Like, that's not two becoming one, as the Bible says. So when you can share those things, it's not complaining. It's like, I don't know, babe, I'm kind of struggling with this right now. I'm frustrated in this. That gives her a chance to build her confidence by pouring into you and loving on you. And then when each of you are doing that, you can celebrate each other wins. I saw a news clip at the gym the other day, and I was reading the subtitles because we don't really watch a whole lot of TV. And I was just in between sets looking at it. And it was a basketball player how had kissed his wife, but he had did it right after making the game-winning shot. He ran straight for her. And the host of the show said, what's so awesome about this is that comes from them being super close and laying in bed at the end of the day and being intimate, not necessarily making love, but sharing these talks with each other. Then when she knows when he hits that game-winning shot, how pumped and what he had to go through to get there, that makes a bonding moment. So it's so important. Don't hold it in. That's going to build resentment. And the last one, prioritizing quality time over TV time. I mean, that's kind of the same thing, right? That
self-explanatory, right? Almost.
It's similar to the last one, whereas you get to know each other better during that process.
Yes.
It's so huge. But when you're just sitting there watching TV, I hear so many couples, it's like, oh, once the day's done, they go watch TV.
Yeah, they're like, we do spend quality time together. We watch TV. And I'm like, you're not even having any kind of conversation or talking about anything.
Right.
How is that growing you closer?
So the point of that is, it's one thing if you've already had quality time, you've already checklist, and you're like, yo, we're going to watch 45 minutes of something.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But if it's like your night and you don't have quality time, no wonder your marriage is not there. And I tell you, that's the number one tip, because I've watched so many marriages change from implementing non-negotiable quality time every night. And it doesn't got to be 4 hours, 30 minutes, and you're good.
Yeah.
So anyways, implement these, and I promise you, your life will change.
Yes.
Much love.